The Paleozoic Era by Anna, Katrina, and Jenny.
The first period in the Paleozoic time era was the Cambrian period. This period was 570 to 492 millions of years ago. Some of the organisms in this period were the trilobites, which were the most dominant, also sponges, bivalves, gastropods, worms, and jellyfish. One of the worms might have looked like this. Some of the key events were that most of the major groups of animals first appeared in the fossil record here and the Cambrian explosion. During a short period of time, the number of animals with shells greatly increased here.
The next period is the Ordovician. It went from 492 to 435 millions of years ago. The organisms were the bivalves, the nautiloids, which were the most rapidly dispersed. The corals were the most abundant, and crinoids, echinoids, and starfish were first established in this period. The key events. Sea levels dropped because of the formation of glaciers. 60% of all sea life died, and 20% of all families went extinct.
The third period in the Paleozoic time era was the Silurian period. This was ranged from 435 to 412 millions of years ago. The organisms in this time period were Eurypterids, which flourished in the seas, and Gridovician, which had major evolution. There's also the trilobites, the brachiopods, and the graptoles, which were the three major groups in this time period. Also the pterygoids. This is what one of the pterygoids might have looked like. Then we have the key events.
The key events were the melting of many glacier formations and coral reefs appearing for the first time.
The next period is the Devonian period. It went from 412 to 354 million years ago. The organisms of this time period are Goniatites, Pterospides, and Cephalospides, which were heavy armored fish, and Ichthyostega, which was a type of amphibian. It could have looked like this.
The key events in this time period were animals with vertebrae advanced rapidly, first flightless insects, arachnids developed, there were lots of fish, and vascular plants started to develop.
The last period is the Permian period. It went from 286 to 248 million years ago. The organisms were the Europs, amphibians that were 5 feet in length. The Dimetrodon, a carnivore, it was the first mammal-like creature, and the Diplocolus, the pond dwellers. The Europs could have looked like this. The Dimetrodon may have looked like this. The key events. It took 30 million years for life to recover from the biggest mass extinction. 90% of sea creatures died, and 70% of land creatures died. One way scientists believe the mass extinction occurred is from uplifting formations of Pangaea left little room for the shallow water life forms as the marine terraces became dry land. Watch what happens. This little rock is an island. The brown stuff is the water. The water is receding. All the water is gone, and all that is left is dry land. Another way scientists think the mass extinction occurred is the Siberian traps released ash and sulfur into the air. This caused the formation of glaciers and global cooling. And all the animals died. Another theory of the extinction is that when other extinctions, like the Siberian traps and the uplifting of Pangaea happened, all the predators, like this one, died, leaving only the herbivores, the prey, and the food source. And slowly, the herbivores started to eat the food source. And they're almost done with it now. So, when they finished eating the food source goes away, and then all of these die of starvation. The end. Overall, the Paleozoic. Paleo means old. Zo means life. So Paleozoic means ancient life. The atmosphere. Atmospheric carbon dioxide levels decreased by a factor of 10. The air was hot and humid most of the era. The conditions on Earth. An Ordovician ice age caused sea levels to drop. Over the course of the Silurian and Devonian periods, sea levels rose when the ice melted. More plants started to grow in the newly warm climate, causing carbon dioxide levels to decrease again, as well as oxygen levels to increase. Today the continents look like this, but in the Paleozoic era, they looked like this. This is Pangaea. It is formed of all the continents together. It is a supercontinent, and it happened during the millions of the years of the Paleozoic period.
This water, is that yours or mine? Is this yours, Jenny?